Welcome to the Simpler Business Podcast, where we talk about ways to do what you love and serve your people in a way that brings you income and freedom. I'm your host, Marissa Roberts. Join me as I chat with my favorite entrepreneurs about how they simplify their biz so that you can simplify yours. Setting boundaries is one of the most empowering moves you can make as a service provider. Not only do boundaries protect your time, energy, and focus, they also make sure that you can deliver quality services to your clients without compromising on your personal life or your well-being. Whether you're a consultant, coach, or freelancer or service provider, I have 5 boundaries that I want to share with you today. They're going to help you create a much more balanced working experience while maintaining healthy client relationships. Let's jump right in. The first one is to define your office hours and your availability. Establishing clear working hours is really, really important for anyone who works personally with people. So you might be a coach, you might be a consultant, you might be a service provider. Clear working hours is really important because when your clients know exactly when they can reach you, it minimizes the chances of any after hours interruptions. So you want to clearly communicate your office hours at the very beginning of your working relationship and outline when you're going to be available for things like phone calls, meetings, and even email responses. So, for example, if you work Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. till 5 p.m., you want to make this very, very clear in your client onboarding process. And I would even add it to your email signature because people don't always remember what they first read in a contract. If your clients need assistance outside of these hours, you can still help them, but you want to set guidelines for things like urgent matters and communicate your fee for working outside of your usual hours. This boundary allows you to create a more healthy work-life balance, and it also signals professionalism and consistency with your clients. The second thing we're going to do is set response times for your client communication. Have you ever felt pressure to respond to a text or a message immediately? And once you do, you realize the thing that you were focused on, whatever project work you were doing, your focus is completely disrupted. Setting a specific response time for client communications, that's going to help a lot here. So you want to set a standard window of response. I usually like 24 to 48 hours, but I err on the side of 24 because I know that time moves quickly for clients these days. But this sort of boundary helps you manage expectations, and it also gives you the breathing room to focus on delivering top quality work without constantly being interrupted and having to switch focus and feel like you're all over the place. And the thing is clients actually appreciate this guideline because it shows that you're really well organized and that you're committed to maintaining high standards across your work and your client interactions. So it's totally fine to say, hey, you can message me or email me anytime you want. This is when I usually respond to emails and messages. For me, I tell my clients I normally respond between 9 and 11 on weekdays. Whatever you set is fine for you. Or you can give them a window of time, like a 24 hours or a 48 hours. Whatever you choose, as long as you're really clear about it, that actually sets the tone for them and gives them confidence in your ability and in your communication. So it actually helps them as much as it helps you. The third thing you want to do is define your scope of work and your process for requests outside of the usual or extra requests. Scope creep is when those little extra tasks all start to add up, and that can quickly drain your time and your resources if you don't have clear boundaries in place. So you can start by setting an accurate and detailed scope of work for each of your client projects, and you want to specify exactly what's included in the service and what is not included. And if a client requests additional work, you can refer back to this scope document and you can discuss how these extras might impact your budget or their budget or your timeline. It's really helpful to create a simple policy for handling extra requests. So for instance, you might offer an hourly work rate for work outside of the initial scope, or you might suggest actually changing your contract to reflect the extra request. Whatever you decide to do, this particular boundary around scope of work, this is going to make sure that you're fairly compensated for any time or effort you put in. And it helps clients understand the value of what they're asking for. Because a lot of the times they'll go, oh, can you just do this little thing? Can you just do this little thing? But that little thing takes a lot of skill and effort behind the scenes, whether that be in the moment as you're doing it, or whether that be skill and effort that you've put in the past in order to get the wisdom and experience you have now. And that is a very valuable thing, and frankly, should be paid for. The next thing you want to do is outline your payment terms and deadlines. I love talking about payments and the money side of things because I think it's very empowering to be on top of this. Financial boundaries are just as important as any other when it comes to running your business. Before starting any project, make sure that you have clear payment terms in place, including things like deposits, due dates, and policies for late or default payments. Most clients respect transparent payment guidelines, and setting these policies up front helps you avoid really awkward conversations down the line. Consider implementing a deposit system where a percentage of the payment is due before the work begins, or a monthly retainer where you get payment for the month ahead before you start doing that work for that month. Or you can include a late fee policy to cover any overdue payments. These are all little examples that are really, really helpful. So choose the ones that will best align with your business. And not only is this going to protect your cash flow, it also reinforces the professional nature of your working relationship. And our last tip for today is to specify your preferred communication channels. When clients communicate through multiple channels, such as email, text, WhatsApp, Slack, Voxer, social media platforms, there's a whole array of DMs you can receive on your social media platforms, it's easy for messages to get lost or missed, and it really contributes to the overwhelm that you feel as the provider. So if you specify your preferred communication methods up front, you can streamline all of these interactions and make it easier to stay organized and keep communication efficient. So, for example, you might request that all project-related discussions be kept to email, or a project management platform like Asana or Trello. You can let your clients know that you won't respond to personal social media messages or unscheduled calls. This boundary is going to help you stay on top of all of your client needs, but it's not actually going to sacrifice your personal time. Because when it comes to social media, people tend to message on that outside of office hours. But when it comes to email, people are really comfortable with the idea that email will be checked Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, for example. So you want to make sure that you're upfront at the start. You minimize the channels of communication. So for example, with a lot of my clients, I will go with just two, usually email and text message, or email and WhatsApp. They're my favorite ones to use. I try really hard to discourage people from using other social media platforms like Facebook Messenger or DMs on Instagram or even on TikTok. And that's purely because I don't check them as often. So it's easier to miss that. And the delivery, how you tell your clients this, is just as important. The goal is to streamline communication so that you don't miss anything important, or so that you make sure that they have just as much balance in their work-life relationship as you do in yours. So you setting this boundary benefits both of you. Boundaries are about respect for yourself, your time, and about the value that you bring to your clients. So when you set boundaries like this, you're going to be working more effectively, you're going to have more balance, and you're actually going to enjoy your client relationships a lot more because they're built on clear professional expectations, and they ultimately lead to better results for all of you. I hope you found this episode helpful. If you'd like to chat more about boundaries, come on over to Instagram. I'm at Marissa Roberts Official, and we'll have a bit of a chat over there too. And I've also linked some handy resources in the show notes that will help you take another step towards setting some successful boundaries in your business. So feel free to access those anytime you like. And I'll see you in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Simpler Business Podcast. If you did, please subscribe, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to make it nice and easy for you, just the way we like it. If you're ready to simplify and scale your business, you can get started with my free audio class at marissaroberts.com. See you next time.